welcome to the Kickasserole. We are on episode 6 now. My name is Emily. With me is my business partner Cassie, and we own a small marketing agency in Wisconsin called North of 8.
That's right. And today we are continuing on with talking about social media, but we're also kind of transitioning into a new phase where we're going to be talking about content. And so on this episode, we are going to be discussing the importance and the ways you can reuse your content and how much time it's going to save you, how many different ways you can redistribute a piece of content in so many different ways. And so being one of the main creators of the content here, I have to create so much content for so many people that all I do is just create. And I would pull my hair out if I didn't have the resources to just be able to recreate.
Yep, absolutely. So it's kind of like, if you're on multiple platforms, instead of having to make, different posts or create different, we're using the word create a lot, or make different videos. How can we take one piece of content that you spend a lot of time on and repackage it for each of these audiences?
Right. And another big reason for this too is that with our organic reach, which we know now that organic is your free posts that you create, they're those unpaid posts. You spend so much time working on that. But for instance, for Facebook, less than 2% of your followers even see it in the first place. And so a way to justify it a little bit more is by repackaging it and creating it, using that, using a blog post that you wrote and turning that blog post into a podcast or turning it into a vlog, 5 to 10 different Facebook posts. A single blog can turn into easily 5 to 10 individual posts if you break it down. Same for TikTok. I mean, you can just use it across whatever platforms that it'll fit. And that way you're not trying to recreate the wheel each time you create.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are the things that, we spend some probably less time than we should, but some significant time on this podcast. What sorts of ways do we repackage this content?
Right. So this podcast, for instance, it'll be a blog. It'll be a series on social media where we post about, the different ways you can reuse content. It'll potentially be a TikTok. We will create it and distribute it on all of our platforms if possible. And doing that will save so much time in comparison to trying to create different posts for each platform. Mm-hmm. Now, the way we distribute them might be different. So, it's the same overall message. However, captions might be different. The imagery, the video, whatever it is, that content may change. And that's really interesting too and helps for reporting because we can see what actually performed better, what it is that, we could have changed to make it better. And so it makes it easier for us to track as well.
Yeah. And then one of the cool things that we're doing, we've started this podcast and we're talking all about social media, and we're actually turning that into a social media survival kit. So we've already done all the work, all of the research, really brushed up on everything for these podcasts. And so now we're taking that knowledge that we invested into this medium, and we are translating it into hopefully what'll be a pretty killer sales tool.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. We can use it in so many different ways. And I'm super excited because it's also educating people, which is another thing that we're super passionate about. So not only are we trying to gain more clients, we're also trying to educate those clients that are looking to do things, their own way. And so it's really fun getting to do this and doing it in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. What was I going to say? Oh, it was a good one and I got distracted. Content, when you create like a whole year's worth of Facebook posts, right? Like it's the end of the year, you've been diligent all year. You look back and you see what performed really well, and then figure out ways that maybe in 2021 we can use these same ideas and those posts and that content that folks really connected with, and then just repost that.
And on that same note, on the post that you were so excited for, it was killer content, but it maybe only got 2 likes and you didn't get any shares, didn't get any comments, no engagement whatsoever. Don't hang your head low on that one. Repost it. a month later. You can repost it a week later. People didn't see it the first time. I mean, aesthetically for your news feed or for whatever feed that you're posting on, maybe don't do it as like the very next post. Give it a little bit of time in between. However, it's not going to change. I mean, you will post it another time, and maybe it's just a different time where you catch people in a totally different space, and all of a sudden the engagements might be off the charts. So don't be afraid to repost those posts as well.
It never fails. The posts that I do from my phone on the couch, a couple glasses of wine in, are like, oh, you have, 30 likes.
Right.
But then like the thing that I belabor over for hours, it's like 2 people liked it and 12 people saw it.
Honestly. And
Thanks,
that's the
Facebook.
frustrating thing when it comes to my role too, because I spend so much time. And then it's like the things that I just kind of throw together and post. It never fails. It always gets the most engagements. Not saying to do that strategy wise. It's not.
Nope.
Don't do that. But that is something that we've happened upon multiple times. So don't let that, again, don't let that hold you back from resharing content or transitioning that content into something else. So
yes. Yeah. So like your typical kind of a good base to start with is, and this is just, Cassie, we didn't talk about this, so if I'm wrong, you just shut me down. But I kind of always think a blog post is a good base.
I was going to say
because,
that.
Yeah, because you're already making sure, that you've done your research, you've cited your sources if you have to do that. At that point, you feel like it's something that you're able to talk about confidently. And then, sharing it on Facebook, make that post. Maybe a story about a new blog out. Maybe you wrap it up into a podcast. What are some other things we can do with that?
If you have cool imagery, Instagram. If it's something that you can easily turn into a TikTok, you can just position over there too. It just really depends on what the content is. But starting with a blog post, I feel like is the best way to just really break out content. I mean, you get a good blog post, you can turn that into so many different things. And like Emily said, you've already done the research. You've already been, educating yourself on this topic, as and you're able to confidently speak about it. And so starting there is a little bit easier than just all of a sudden being like, today I'm going to start a podcast, and then I'm going to turn this podcast into a blog and all of the other things. Not saying you can't do that, but I would, build it on a strong foundation of research and
Absolutely. And plus, like, my nerdy website brain is like, blogs are great for SEO.
that too. I mean, that's massive. You may not get a lot of clicks on your blogs, but it's doing work for you. So whether you believe it or not, it's helping you rank in the eyes of Google. And I mean, every little thing that you create and put into the world is going to affect you in the eyes of Google. So yeah, it's how to get on their radar. So I'm trying to think what our one thing would be though for reusing content.
Oh, we didn't think about this before.
No, we didn't talk about this. Let's each give one maybe, but then we can figure out which one we actually like.
Which one's better?
Which one's better, and then we'll say to go with that one. And if you want to do both, then you get a bonus. Mine's gonna be easy-ish. Again, we've been really light on you guys for last week. We don't have to do anything. This week I would say start going through your content you've already posted, if you've already posted, and review it and see how the engagement looks. Were there any like stellar posts from this year that you're like, I need to figure out how to share this again. I need to figure out how to repackage this information, and just start kind of going. I know that's a long process, so it kind of is a lot to do because it's asking you to go through and review your post. But I think that that's something that'll be really helpful for you. It'll take a lot of stress off for next year, and just be ready to repost those bad boys.
Mine would be honestly almost the same as yours. So we have things when we come up with our content. Well, so it's kind of like if you're a house cleaner, your house is messy because you're cleaning everyone else's. So we have this thing that we try to use. The term is evergreen content. So if it's content that's tied to like a holiday or a national day or something that we know is going to be happening, year over year, we're supposed to mark that as evergreen. So we can always refer back to it. So when November comes up next year and it's time to schedule, we have a list of like almost ready content that we can just sort of repackage a little bit, maybe, update the verbiage, things like that. So it's a lot of the same of what Cassie was saying, but maybe my change to that would be almost add it to like a calendar.
For sure. And I agree with that too. So we'll say the combination of the two is your one thing. I know that's kind of a lot, but I think it's important. And it'll save you so much time in the long run. So if you do this thing, it's going to save you from doing 12 things later. So
yes. And if you haven't really been good about posting or creating your own original content, I maybe start off by like in 2021, it's your goal to start building this evergreen content calendar.
absolutely. Yeah, if you're just now getting your feet wet with posting, mark
Mhm.
mark down those days that are going to change, that aren't going to change. So you've got Black Friday, you've got Christmas, all of these things are coming up. What are you going to post?
Yeah. Yep. I like it. There's actually a lot of one things now that I'm thinking about it.
No, it turned into a lot more than one, but this is your homework from last week of not having
Yeah.
any school.
You guys don't have to
I
do
don't feel bad
anything.
about this at all. It's not too much. It's a little bit, you can handle it. I know you can handle it because it's progress and it's going to save you time. So
Yeah. Yep. Invest that time now. And then, hey, could you hear Henry crying this time?
no,
Okay, good.
no baby.
There's his dad's with him, so it's fine. He's not like by
Yeah.
himself. Okay. I watched our podcast from last week. And when I asked if you could hear Henry rolling around out there, all I heard was like this low thunder roar in the background.
Oh my gosh, she's mobile, guys. So
Boost Mobile. Okay. Anyway, we should just end this podcast now.
I agree. Okay,
Okay.
that's all we have to say.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.